Okay, this is part two for our Access 2 lesson. And we stopped after creating all of our tables. And now we're going to create a relationship between our tables. So to do that, we're going to go to Database Tools. And that will bring up our tab where we can choose relationships. Now, when you are creating relationships, you will have to add in the tables that you need. You can add them in one at a time, or you can highlight them all and add them all in by holding down Control and clicking and clicking. I'm just going to add all three so that they're all in here. Now in our instructions, we are going to create a one-to-many relationship between vacations and vacation codes. So that's between this and this. And when you're creating a relationship, you have to create it on a shared field. So it's a one-to-many, meaning code is only in here, like A is only in here one time into this one, but we can use code A many times in this one. So it's a one-to-many relationship. You're just going to drag the word to the other word. I'm going to drag code to this code and you'll see a little plus sign. And when you let go, you're going to create the relationship and you want to enforce referential integrity. That just means don't go to this table and enter a vacation code of P if it doesn't exist over here. Okay, so we always want to enforce integrity. Okay, we're going to hit create. And now you'll see there's the one sign and there's the infinity sign. Okay, so now our second one, we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to find the common fields between two others of these tables. It says between customer and vacation. So I've got my, oh, I named my table wrong. I named it customer ID instead of customer. Whoopsies. I'm going to have to fix that. What a bummer for all of us involved here. We're going to connect these though. So if we look, the shared field is vacation ID. So it's the primary key in the vacation table. It's what we call the foreign key in the customer ID table because they are going to be a shared field. So we're going to drag again one to the other, enforce referential integrity, and hit create. And you can right click and save that relationship as well. So we're going to hit close. And now let's see if I can rename this table without breaking everything. I'm going to right click and rename my customer ID table, which my mouse isn't letting me do right now. So that is really unfortunate. I am on a very slippery surface and it is not having it. Okay, well, you right click and rename yours since I can't rename mine. Um, this should be a customer table. So sorry. Okay. I'm going to pause and try to figure out my problem here. Okay, we're renamed. When I stop recording, it will let me right click and rename it. All right, so we have a customer table, we have our vacay codes, and we have our vacations, and they have a relationship. So if I open up my vacay codes, they have little plus signs now. And if I were to click on one of those, it would show me which one of these vacation has code A assigned to it. So that's kind of cool, right? So we can see how many we have in each package, in each category. So that's what those relationships do. Okay, now that we have this relationship, we're going to create a form. So before creating the form, we're going to update the customer table. So we're going to open the table. And in this case, we are going to update the captions so that up here, these show differently than the way they are in design view. So I'm going to go back to design view and we're going to change the way these look, but we're not actually changing the names of the fields. We're just changing the way they look, and that's what a caption does. Captions are down in the field properties. So we're going to do it for first name and last name. So for the first name one, we're going to come down to caption, and we're just going to put first spacebar name, and last name, same story, last spacebar name for that caption. And I'm just going to save and switch over. You don't have to do it, but if you look over now, see they will show space bars, but technically they're not actually renamed. The last one we're going to do here is we are going to make the caption for vacation ID actually the words vacation package. So be really careful because a misspelling in a caption, of course, will mark that whole thing wrong. And always make sure that if you're supposed to be doing it for the caption, don't do it up here for the field name where that would be wrong as well. Okay, now that we've got that all situated, we can create our form. So we're going to create a form using the form tool on the customers table. And of course, Here we go. I'm on customer. I'm going to create a form. So create and then form. And it's just going to automatically create the form. I'm not sure why I wanted to bring the printer box up, so I just canceled out of that. All right, now look at your form and you should see first name, last name, and vacation package on there. We're going to edit this. So we are going to edit the form title to be customer vacation entry form. So up here, double click customer vacation entry and form. And we're going to save this as customer entry form. Then once we've done that, we are going to enter some records. So we are going to enter in, now you can't do that from this view. So switch your view to form view. That's where you fill out forms. Fill out the form view. Mickey Mouse is going to be getting package VACMTN-1. And we're going to go next. And Bart Simpson, my font is doing weird things, is going to get CCT 000-1. And that's that one. Now we're going to create a second form, but before we do that, we're going to change something. So we're going to save and close this form. Now we entered those into this customer table. So if we open it, we should see these guys in here. And if we go to the vacations, again, we can see those connections in here, and we can see that Bart Simpson is connected to CCT 000-1. So everything, the relationships are all working well. If you have any errors about a relationship, it's because something is wrong on one side of that relationship. Okay. All right. Now that we've entered those, we're going to go update the vacations table. So we're going to update the design of the vacations table. Again, I can't right click on here for whatever reason, so I'm going to open that up and then switch to the design view. And from within here, we are going to change it so this code field has a default value of N. So the default value is going to be N. And if this was a number, it would have to have an equals in front of it. And sometimes we have to put an equals anyway for SAM projects to not be mad at us. But we're going to try it with just the N for now. And then 0 decimal places for the price. So we're going to go to price, and where it says decimal places auto, we're going to say, yeah, we don't want any decimal places. So we're going to set that to 0 on that currency. Okay, we're also going to make the vacation ID field, so that top field, have a caption of vacation spacebar ID. And we're doing all this before we create the form, so the form uses the things that we put down in the bottom. We're also going to make price a required field. So where it says required no, we're going to say required yes. You cannot enter it if you don't put a price in there. So that's important as well. Okay, so now we have all of these. I'm going to save and close. It says, hey, you changed some stuff down here, like these decimal places. Something could go wrong. Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I know I don't have any change on any of them, so I'm good, but that's what it's asking. And it says, you want me to check and make sure? And you could say, sure, check it, and it will be happy. Okay, now we're going to create a form using that table. So this vacations table. So I'm going to click on the vacations table. We're going to go to create. And once again, we're just going to click form. And if the printer thing comes up, I will pause it. I don't know why it wants to do that. Now, check this form out. So this is like a form within a form. It's a form with a subform. So we have the main vacations one, but in the bottom, we can actually see, and if we skip through here, eventually we'll run into Mickey Mouse and Bart Simpson. We can actually see everyone who signed up for that vacation. That's inside this little form, and here we can see the names, but the big form at the top would switch the vacations. So kind of cool the way that we can have those all in there together. Now we're going to edit the form title. So I want to be in this form layout view. So I'm going to be here typing new package entry form, new package entry form. So weird how my font is being. And then we're going to save it as new package entry form. And then we're going to enter a record in. So we're going to go all the way to the end. If you hit the little over with the gold, that'll take us to the end. Be careful. Don't mess with Mickey Mouse's form down here. Not that one, but the lower down one. We're going to hit over, so we're at the new one. Now, I need to type in this, and I can't do that from this view. So I need to switch it again to the form view so I can type into it. This is going to be VACMTN dash, and I don't have to type it because that's a field with an input mask, 2. And then again, you can copy and paste rather than try to type all of this, but the Cheyenne Mountain Excursion Flight and Lodging, golly, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 2 adults, 7 nights, 1, 4, 9, 6, and B instead of the default N that is in there. Okay. Now, if something would have violated a rule, when we type something in a form, it puts it in the table. So if it would have validated, if it would have been invalid in the table, it won't let us do it in the form. We would get an error. And if you get an error because you typed something in that doesn't belong, you can press the escape button in order to get that out of there. But I'm going to hit save and close. Okay. Join me in the next video where we will import a structure without data, meaning somebody else had a really great table set up and we don't want to have to type all their fields again, but we don't want their information. So we'll talk about that in the next one.